go to a convention and just express yourself.
In a world desperate to tear itself apart, only one man, and some other people, stand in the way of total destruction. Together they will right the wrongs, make bad good, and single-handedly destroy evil, together. Who is this man, you may ask? This man is Geoff.
Hello and welcome to this episode of Geoff Jones and Friends Make It Better, the show that takes one of life's little annoyances, gives him a microphone, a podcast and a guest, and the overwhelming ego to believe he can make everything better. Today I'm absolutely delighted to be joined by Curt Hill. Curt Hill is the Programming and Events Manager of Guildhall Trust and is on for a very special for me, but it's also very special for him, reason. Curt, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you doing?
Yes, I'm not too bad at all. Now, Curt, thank you so much for coming up. I'm absolutely delighted you've agreed to do this. Now, we're going to talk conventions, comic convention, and more specifically, Portsmouth Comic Con, which is coming up in May.
Yes, 11th and 12th of May, so very, very soon.
Yes, 11th and 12th of May, Portsmouth Guildhall. I'm a previous visitor anyway, being local, and I love myself a good convention. How long has it been going now? Because I think I went about 5 years ago, or maybe, ish, just before kind of lockdowns and things.
Yeah, so our first Comic Con was 2018. Obviously, we had 2 fantastic years, really, really exciting. Really made a name for ourselves in the Comic Con world. Sadly, the pandemic then kind of wrote us off for a couple of years, and then we came back in 2022, kind of bigger and better, and the event has just grown ever since. Each year we have to try and find more space, more content, and just create a new event. And kind of the ethos is, if you didn't come to Comic Con this year, you've never been to Comic Con in Portsmouth. We could stand still. We could do the same event every year because we get fantastic feedback. The event's a real pleasure to put on, but we feel that every year you should come into something different, and experience something new to really kind of make sure that Portsmouth is that event of the year that you're so excited to attend.
Oh, Joe, I love that thought, because you can go to conventions. Yes, guests can change, but you're going to a lot of the time see the same kind of outlets and the same faces, and that's great, and you see the same people, but it doesn't feel like an event. It feels like you're going to a big shop and there's some special guests and there's some talks and there's cool things going on. But if you go to, so I've been to some, so Brighton a few times, and you do kind of find yourself a little bit, okay, well, I've done it now, and I know I can miss next year. I don't have to go the next day or something like that. So the fact that there's a lot going on at Portsmouth this year. So who knows what it was like last year? It must have been massive last year, bigger, because there's so much.
Yeah, I mean, our big kind of tagline really is that we're the biggest family-friendly Comic Con of its kind. And it just includes everything from our kind of immersive walkthrough experiences, which will change every year. So we had a fantastic Star Wars year. Last year we had the Doctor Who walkthrough experience with so much content in there. Some of the kind of replica costumes from the Doctors. This year we've got a fantastic kind of wizard and wizardry into Stranger Things, into Marvelous. So you'll go through lots of experiences, fantastic photo opportunities. There's a chance to get a photo of yourself on the Harry Potter broom, which will be really, really cool. And we're kind of trying to look at kind of a bit of a exclusive to give you. We're looking at, not only having you on that Quidditch pitch, but the option to maybe have yourself on a broomstick flying over the Guildhall itself. For anyone who lives in Portsmouth, imagine having yourself, flying across the Guildhall. So look, lots of different experiences, lots of photo opportunities, just a real chance to experience everything that kind of pop culture has to offer, in a really fun way, opposed to more of the academic panels that we have here as well. It just means there's something for everyone. You've got everything from kind of your 2-year-old to your 90-year-old that can really come and enjoy the weekend convention.
Oh, it sounds like I'm so excited for it. It has, do you know, it's been a while. I probably haven't been to a convention maybe since the pandemic, and maybe I got a little bit out of, um, I don't know, I used to go quite a lot. I used to kind of have my collectibles and especially comics. I'm a big fan of kind of indie comics, and I think I spend more time talking to indie writers and artists than anything else because I firmly believe in people who are out there plying their craft and they've maybe they went through Kickstarters and things like that and they've not quite made it yet, but this is because it sounds like there's something for everyone, which is brilliant. It sounds like just from how you're talking, there's like love and care and passion, which is brilliant.
Yeah, we have a lot of care, and it is interesting you mentioned about the kind of indie artists as well. Obviously, we have our artist alley, which is have some sort of big names in the industry. Flying from America, flying from parts of Europe, from the UK. But then we also have our kind of indie artists at the event as well. And it's quite exciting because we've had artists that have started kind of within the comic villages and eventually have grown their name, kind of become bigger in the industry, and they've ended up in Artist Alley. And it's really nice kind of to be able to be part of that journey where their career is developed so much that they've now become a guest at the event. And they're heading up panels, they're heading up workshops, and just being here to meet attendees. Portfolio reviews is a big thing as well. And artists are here to support anyone that's kind of got a real interest in becoming an artist, and just giving that sort of guidance and advice is a really nice thing to see at the event as well.
Oh, that is fantastic. It's a real, kind of community spirit, a kind of industry spirit that kind of harbors.
Yeah, I think so. We are sort of an international festival of comics led event, but also, Portsmouth is such a special place and has such a community feel that it is kind of nice to have the community feel, but on a wider scale and sharing that kind of not only within Portsmouth, but within the whole kind of Comic Con circuit. We've got people traveling on our heat maps from Sydney. We've had people traveling over from America, parts of Europe. We've kind of on the heat map this year. There's someone in Japan that's attending the event. So it's really nice kind of to have that journey of a quarter of our attendees are from Portsmouth, but then to have people joining us to experience what Portsmouth has to offer is really special as well.
Yeah, it is really nice because I am Portsmouth born and bred. Or actually, I'm not. I'm just outside. I'm still in the PO postcode, but I'm actually just down the road. But Portsmouth doesn't get much. I think there's been, well, unless Portsmouth creates it itself, you never see big festivals coming from outside or I don't know what I'm trying to say, but it's almost like a forgotten place considering how historically relevant Portsmouth is just as a city throughout time. It's put on starts its own festivals with Victorious. Obviously, the Guildhall hosts some of the biggest names. My first ever gig was watching Alice Cooper at the Portsmouth Guildhall, and that was
a great gig.
It was a hell of a long time ago, but it was amazing. But everything kind of seems generous it has to generate it itself. It doesn't get a lot of love from uptown, and to hear that there's people come in. I mean, I was impressed that someone I know well from comics kind of moons ago is coming down from Manchester, and he actually works with one of the comic book grading companies, and he has done for a while.
Yeah.
And he was one of the names I was going to reach out to see if he was coming. And he actually, when it was announced, when you guys put it on social media, that I was involved, which I didn't actually say at the beginning. I think I was leading up to it, but never she did. He's going to be there, and it's fantastic because I haven't seen him since, I don't know, Walker Stalker, maybe 2018, something like 2019. So it's great to be able to come together in somewhere with a love of kind of fandoms and somewhere that's just on my doorstep as well. So that's really nice for me to see. I think the people of Portsmouth to see as well.
Yeah, I think you've hit the nail on the head. You know, an event such as Victoria started at the Dockyard, was a great event, very small scale, and to see it grow,
Mm.
and still have the original organisers from Portsmouth involved in that event is really special. And that's kind of inspiration that we've taken for Portsmouth Comic Con. You know, it's myself and Nick, the event director, have been the two people that have kind of been sort of mainly focused on the event all year round from the very start. And for us to be able to take it from an event just inside the Guildhall for 4,000 people, building it into the square the following year, increasing capacity. I think we got to sort of around the 6,000 people mark. And then we realized we've got to grow it again. So we've taken the whole of the car park area this
Oh,
year.
really?
We've got a huge Star Wars experience going around in that back car park. You've got a real kind of special journey there, and I don't want to give too much away because I think you just need to experience it. I don't want to give any spoilers because it's you're going to kind of walk into that area and it's going to be a real wow factor. But you know, this year we're looking at sort of 10,000 people attending.
Wow.
You know, to be hitting those numbers from sort of small scale Comic Con of 4,000 people to 10,000 people over the weekend, just coming and celebrating everything that the fandom's got to offer is really, really cool.
Oh, that's amazing, and especially with that 2 year break, kind of enforced
Mm-hmm.
break as well. The fact that I think it's quite easy for momentum to maybe stop and it struggled to kind of gain traction again, and especially as people maybe a bit more, especially the year after, people have been a bit wary of large kind of large amounts of people in one space. But the fact that you're going on a 10,000, like, because I was thinking like, where's all this going on? Because I've been to the Guildhall, a good number of times. Anything from, like I say, from concerts to watching my children in various musical kind of Christmas musical things, to perform at a stand-up show there myself, and I kind of think I've struck forget how big it is because you're always kind of confined to one space. But the fact that you've got the whole square, which I didn't realize, and the car park as well, that's massive. It's going to be huge. I mean, hopefully there's going to be kind of more than you and just Nick on the day running around organising everyone.
Yeah, no, we've got a fantastic team behind us supporting, and that's where the event really works for us because it's kind of our venue. So we know kind of all those sort of nook and crannies, rooms, extra little bits of kind of corridor that we know we can use. We can create something really special. I mean, we use the two side corridors down the side of the auditorium for exhibitions. You know, we had Will Simpson's Game of Thrones kind of storyboards up one year again. You know, that's something really special that we can change stuff on the wall. You know, so we're very lucky that it's our venue and we don't have the restrictions that maybe organisers going to and hiring a venue might have. But yeah, using that space outside is fantastic. You know, you almost got as much content going around those outside spaces as you have inside. So as long as it doesn't rain, touch wood, it'll be fantastic. Although if it can be not as hot as last year, I think it might have been the last time it was sunny actually. Last because we moved the convention because of the coronation to June last year.
Okay.
And it was absolutely scorching. I think we every event you have a handful of bits of feedback that you need to learn from. But I think the only major complaint we had was from a customer who was very upset that we'd done it on such a hot day of the year. So I can only apologise that it was that sunny.
Yeah.
But if that's the one thing that I need to change, then I'll try and work.
I love the Britishness of that as well, though, that not only you're like, right, as long as it doesn't rain, but also as long as it's not too hot. That's just like, right, we all have that perfect kind of temperature and environment. And we like it warm, but it doesn't have to be too bright. It doesn't have to be too hot, but certainly no rain, but also not too windy. So that's just be perfect. But then, yeah, and I suppose that's a nice complaint. I mean, I'm assuming it wasn't necessarily a serious, or hopefully not a serious complaint that, could you please just change the weather, turn the weather down a little bit. But isn't that truly British as well?
As you say, it was a very British
complaint.
very British complaint. I mean, it was hard. It was very, very hard. But fortunately, as much as we try, we want to put on a 5-star event. Unfortunately, sunshine is not something we can do that much about.
That's it. It's the cosplayers I feel bad for. All dressed up in the gear on a hot day like that. Hopefully, I think May we're due some good weather. So May's going to be great, especially the 11th and 12th. It's going to be the perfect condition for everybody. Hopefully.
Surely it can't rain anymore. I
Yeah.
was at the cosplay social yesterday, and one of our cosplayers who plays Captain Jack Sparrow was saying he put his wig on the other day, and considering what the weather's been like lately, he said he forgot as soon as you put that on how hot you end up feeling. So, as you say, it's been quite a bleak sort of couple of months weather-wise, and if it's hot when it's been like this, I do feel sorry for the cosplayers when it's sunny.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And yesterday was that was in itself. It looked quite nice in the morning, and then it came out not very wet and windy. And my son dragged me to play football over at the big play. I can't no idea what it's called. The big play. This will be nothing to anyone who's not local. But Sainsbury's, the big Sainsbury's, all the playing fields, kind of
Over in Farlington.
Yes, yeah. So he dragged me there where there's about a dozen football goals in the wet and the wind. There you go. And everyone, hey, go to the football goals in Farnton next to the Sainsbury's. Got to do a little bit of local tourism. Try and drum up a bit. As you're coming to the Comic Con.
A must visit when you're not at Comic Con.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, visit the Spinnaker, visit the dockyards. Stay the week, as long as it's not too wet or too hot. But but just talking on the graphics. So obviously I'm so proud to be involved this year. So I reached out to you, I think it was the end of last year, wasn't it? And I was just trying to drum up a few more ears for the podcast. I was asking if I could come, just have a little table, hand out some leaflets. And obviously all the space was booked, but you've now got actually this kind of what kind of creator kind of area. You're utilizing space where previously it wasn't. Explain that far better than me.
No, so we realised we have some incredible panels, which all our guest artists attend, but they're quite academic. They're kind of you have to be a real geek, I think, to attend them and really sort of understand them. They are really cool. But we realised as well we wanted to use kind of another area of the building to have some sort of entertaining, sort of family friendly, sort of even down, some sort of niche pieces as well. A real variety of things that are sort of expand beyond what a panel is. And we created alongside Express FM, who obviously Portsmouth local radio station. They kind of host Speakers Corner, and it's just a space that's within the auditorium in Comic City 1. There's 400 chairs there. The people can just come down and learn about the event, learn about different things that are at the event. And obviously one of those things is yourself. And I think you're going to be hosting some live podcasts.
Yes, yeah, very excited. So to local Portsmouth comedians, previous guests of the show on Saturday, the Saturday at 2 p.m, Sunday at 1 p.m. At Speakers Corner. No matter what, though, it should be fun. I'm so appreciative that you had when I reached out to you and just said, well, actually, we've got this going on now. Do you wanna go? And it's going to be a lot of fun, a lot of energy. Hopefully, we'll get some bums on seats as well, and then hopefully this will be the start of coming back year in year and be part of those people who start in the small and work their way up as on that journey. So it's very exciting.
Yeah, I think so. Obviously, I think you, as you say, kind of starting that journey this year would be fantastic. So we also have the big stage out in Guildhall Square. People can sit on the steps, almost a bit like an amphitheatre, and watch content there. It's where we host kind of the cosplay parades. And we'll be having the big Doctor Who panel this year with Sylvester McCoy, Paul McGann, and Sophie Aldred. So I think potential for the future is to be having that panel on the main stage outside.
That would be fun. Well, hang on. So you project on the massive TV that's outside Guildhall as well?
And so it's not used on the TV out there. We just have a stage in front of all the steps. We host a variety of entertainment entertainment there as well.
Wow. Okay. Well, and using the steps because I mean those are quite iconic. Well, if you're in the area, the Guildhall steps. So they use that as kind of the seating area, and then
That's exactly that. Yeah,
oh well, I know where I'm going to be spending most of the day as long as it's not too hot, obviously.
as long as it's not too hot. I think that's where the complaint came through. Is when we had Colin Baker and Peter Davison outside doing a panel last year, and I think that's where a few people were enjoying it so much. I think they quite realised the sun beating down on them.
Yeah, that's it. It'll all be red faced. Oh, I mean, what a wonderful use of space because I mean, Guildhall for anyone who's not been there is it's a beautiful building anyway. It's right in the centre of a busy city. It's kind of Portsmouth is always an odd place because it's big kind of university city. So you've got a lot of young people, a lot of international students, international people. It's like a big melting pot. Because it's got I suppose the ferry kind of getting over to other parts of Europe. It's kind of like this small place, but the whole world fits inside of it. And I think it's fantastic. And with South Sea, and it's old, but it's young, and it's vibrant, but it's also beautiful. I know, as you can see, I'm a big fan of Portsmouth. It deserves eyes like this, and hopefully the convention will continue to grow and get bigger. I mean, but where do you go once you've taken over the Guildhall, the car park, the square? Next it will be multi-story car parks and
the multi-story car. I mean, not wanting to give away all of our secrets. We already are in discussion because we appreciate them. The event needs to keep growing. So we do have a few plans, a few conversations to have with partners and people within the city. But yeah, watch this space because another 5 years, we want to be targeting double what we're targeting now. So we know what we want to grow and where we want to be.
If you need some room, literally the train station is right outside Guildhall. Just pop on. I'm a couple of stops down the road. People can come over to mine, and I'll host obviously the big famous names. They can have a cup of tea, and people can come and have a chat with them. I'll be more than happy to sacrifice myself for that.
I'll certainly hold you to that. We're trying to have a great conversation with the trains as well to get free shuttles between the two parts of the site. As long as they're not on strike, we'll be good to go.
That would be good. I mean, Portsmouth everywhere is kind of close, but also not kind of close because it's bigger than you think. When you go, the more and more that we talk about this, I've been a little bit nervous about this and getting out into the world of it, but I'm just so excited for the event itself, and I'm kind of quite glad that proud that I'm a little part of it, but actually that I get to be part of the experience anyway, because it's a great venue. It's the amount of, like I said, love and care that you're obviously treating with it, and the designs you've got as well, because it would be easy just to think, right, we've got the car park, we've got the square, let's just focus on the guests. But to actually keep growing it is, yes, it's commendable. It's good for the city. It's good for geeks as well. It's good for those who can't always get up to London or anywhere else, and they've got somewhere to go a bit closer to buy. So congratulations and well done.
I mean, you mentioned about being nervous as well, and we kind of see Portsmouth as being a real safe space. So when you come into the event, you should feel safe. And there is a real community feel. Everyone's really supportive of each other. And you see that during the cosplay parade. You'll see someone stand on stage with a £2 costume, followed by someone in a £400 or £500 costume, and everyone is treated with the same respect, the same round of applause. And it's a real special kind of moment to see that everyone just really kind of has each other's back and really just appreciates everything that everyone does. So you're feeling nervous, but I think within 2 minutes of being in Speaker's Corner, the kind of podcast starting, those nerves are going to disappear for sure.
No, look, as long as the people in front of me aren't too good, that's the other concern. But no, it's fantastic, and and long may it continue. Long may that kind of the honesty of it, and a growing event which is going to be massive, but also remaining humble and for the people, because this is what I love about. I keep using the word geek. I don't really like it, but I think everyone understands what you're, what you say. The kind of event you're talking about. When you've got people who are so passionate about book or a comic or a TV show, films, whatever, whether it was just the actors or creators themselves, and no one laughs at football fans. When you got 70,000 people singing stupid songs at people kicking footballs around. That's just part of the norm. But all of a sudden, if you have people who are dressing up in their favorite kit, which just happens to be Gryffindor or or just like superheroes and things, people, I don't know, there's no stigma to it, but people just, I don't know, maybe they don't get it, and it's just because they're too closed-minded or something. I don't know. And I say that as someone who is a big football fan, but I appreciate everyone's different, and it's great, and seeing people just all shapes, sizes, like I say, cost value of clothing, and just coming together and being happy. I mean, I once where was I? I was at one of the big London conventions, and there was about a dozen Deadpools. It was just at the time the first Deadpool came out. There's about a dozen of them just all stood around chatting, and some had the big full-on kind of plastic suits, and some had, maybe they made themselves, maybe it was cheaper. Everyone's just standing around chatting, having a coffee and posing for the cameras.
Having a good time.
Having a good time. Yeah, and that's what it should be about. Yeah, so really looking forward to it. I mean, let's say the podcast is kind of a make it better. I mean, what has there been, apart from people complaining, being too hot, what has anything gone in the last kind of 6 years or so? Has anything gone really wrong?
I don't think we've had any major things go wrong, and touch wood, it stays that way. We've had learning curves. We've had things that we've had to slightly amend for future years. We're always learning, and we do take the feedback that we receive extremely seriously. So it's just learning. Sometimes everyone's very different. So sometimes we maybe don't see in the eyes of someone that might have slightly different needs or slightly different requirements. And that's where the feedback comes from. And that's where we always make those changes, because the event should be enjoyed by everyone as much as everyone else. So that's kind of where we sit with that. Really, is kind of always learning and always changing where needed.
That's a very corporate response, there, Curt. But I know it comes from a place of honesty, and because when an event like a comic convention is for accepting of everyone, it's good that Guildhall's an old building, and accessibility and things like that is a learning curve, especially when you're used to catering for small numbers and it's growing, and so it's good to hear though that it's something that's constantly looked at year on year as well. So very commendable. I was hoping there was going to be something a bit juicier than that, but no, I respect that.
Maybe we'll save that for the weekend itself.
Yeah, okay. What is? I mean, I'm gonna turn up and you'll be closed down by. No, I'm joking. Okay, what was you personally? What was your greatest moment over the years working these cons or running these cons?
I think actually every year you walk around and you kind of feel like, wow, I've been part of the creation of this. You see everyone having such a good time. You see everyone in their costumes. So when we first opened those gates in 2022, after a torrid 2 years, just to see everyone come into the convention, almost as we still followed guidance, we still followed, but almost at that moment, the pandemic had never existed.
Yeah.
Everyone just came in and we were back. And I think that is probably the most special moment, I think, of the entire kind of years that I've been working on Comic-Con. We had that, we had a very shaky period where we had to postpone a few Comic-Cons, and then it got to that point of, financials, can this continue? And we made it work, and we're back. And it was that special moment, I think, just seeing the convention and everyone coming in, and just, as I say, almost the pandemic hadn't ever existed and we hadn't had 2 years off. was fantastic. And it is a thank you to everyone that supported us in 2018 and 2019 as well, because they came back and supported us again when we were able to kind of reopen the doors and relight that fire of kind of Portsmouth Comic Con.
Oh, magic. Absolutely magical. It's lovely to hear. And you can tell, but as I've said a couple of times already, but tell the passion in your voice for it. I mean, are you the pride of the event? Are you a particularly kind of geeky person yourself, or is it more just the love of seeing everyone involved?
I certainly do have my geeky quirks. I think between myself and Nick, I am kind of, as you say, you mentioned sort of corporate. It's not so much a corporate, but I'm more maybe sort of the serious side of things. But yeah, it's for the love of doing it for everyone else, opposed to doing it for yourself. I think if you work in events, do your research and learn what people want, because what you want doesn't matter really. You know, I also work in programming, and programming events here at the Guildhall. It's not about what I want; it's about making sure you're creating something for the people attending.
Brilliant. And essentially, Nick is just the fanboy. Then you do the work, and he's like, "Can we get this guest?" And you're like, "Okay, Nick, we'll try." Yeah.
Yeah, we have to keep him tame. I think sometimes it's managing
Through the budget.
expectations. But yeah, it's a serious point though. You say, you know, you look at some conventions, some of the big London conventions, you know, you look at New York, San Diego, they have huge names. But obviously that comes at a big price for the convention. And one of our biggest kind of things is keeping it affordable, keeping it for the people in Portsmouth, keeping it for people coming into Portsmouth. You know, so we are very much focused on kind of the comic artists, and having kind of those celebrity names that sort of affordable for people attending. You're looking at a price of sort of £30 to get a signature of the doctors attending this year, equivalent to another convention happening around the same sort of time as us, who have just announced an artist. It's £175. It's making sure we are accessible and kind of a real viable option for people that work really hard for their money and maybe can't afford those sort of prices. Just at a whim of having that signature or a photograph.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I've only ever got one signature, and that was from Walker Stalker actually, and it cost quite a lot of money, but it was Eugene from Walking Dead, and I was a big fan. I bought the figurine, and he signed the box, and yeah, it was cool. But I wouldn't do it spend that kind of money regularly. And I appreciate there's lots of people who can and do, and this is their one focus. But having an affordable alternative with great guests. I mean, Michael Carter, like literally just been in House of Dragons. Like that's a big name. So it's not. Yeah, I hope don't do yourself a disservice. And obviously, a lot of these cons are a lot more established and have been going on for longer, and they didn't have a 2-year break, forced break, kind of 2 years into it. So yeah, who knows what will happen? But the fact that there is that alternative, even places like the Brighton Con and things like that, Portsmouth is far more accessible than anything else. But it sounds like you just got some absolutely amazing plans.
Yeah, I mean, I think this year we're so excited about. Well, we're so excited about our guest this year. To have Sylvester, who every time I've seen him at another convention is there, really interacting with the audience. Doing magic tricks. He's incredible. Paul McGann, huge name. You mentioned sort of Mike Carter. I was so excited. I think The American Werewolf in London was one of the first horror films I ever watched. I was probably about 10 years old watching it. Probably should have been watching it. But me and him had a great chat about his trip on the escalator, which sadly kind of saw the end of him with David the werewolf, kind of eating him. But it's some fantastic names. We've got Ace attending this year as well. So the panel between the two doctors and Ace is going to be really, really good, entertaining. So yeah, we're really excited about kind of the names we've got attending this year. But they're fantastic names that are kind of very engaging with their fans as well. So and that's always something we look at. We want everyone to enjoy the weekend and go away with a good feeling, to make sure that the artists were really engaging and wanted to meet them as much as the fans wanted to meet them. So it's
that's great, because it can be long days for the guests, and I appreciate when you've taken all the photos and all the signatures, and I feel it from both sides. People pay good money to go and see these people, and they're getting the photos. I appreciate how exhausting it must be for the guests as well, and I think it's easy. Again, when I was at Walkstalk, Lauren Cohen played Maggie on Walking Dead, have just almost disappeared, and obviously there's outrage because her queue was massive, but you also think she'd already been going for about 6 hours and probably flown in from the States and all this. Like, I think, I get it. It's not a great situation, but people are still human. But having, Sylvester McCoy's coming in and is engaging and kind of being. I mean, my wife's going to be my caddy, my stagehand, because if I didn't, she'd probably have left me. And so I think we're going to get in there, and she's going to just go off on her own until she thinks there's a chance of meeting someone, and then she'll come back. But so I think she's maybe more excited than I am. But so having people that are that engaging and willing to talk to fans, because like I said, living with someone who's more excited than anyone I know, it means a lot. It does mean a lot. But and to be able to keep it going for a full 2 days worth of a con, it's very commendable.
That again is something that we're so proud of.
Yeah, keeping them working. Actually, what you've just got is, I know somewhere underneath Portsmouth Guildhall is just where you keep Sylvester McCoy, and you just let him out a couple of times a year. If you're a good boy, you can get bread this time. Perform. I mean, with the countdown is on. We're beginning of April. This will be going out in a couple of weeks' time, when we'll be under a month to it. Like, how much will be left in that kind of last month to do, or is it all done? You're just kicking back, waiting for the day. Where are we with the process for the day?
We've still got a few cheeky announcements to make. A few more kind of comic artists to announce. Some some stage content that we'll be releasing as well. This is the point now where it's kind of just ticking off everything now, and kind of the setup obviously is big because of so much space. Just starting to get that sort of final planning process in place. I mean, I've ticked off something today to let you know kind of your stage times. Obviously, it's just making sure everyone knows where to be at the right time. Just so you've got a real nice flow, and kind of everything on the weekend is smooth sailing.
Fantastic. Well, I'm sure everyone appreciates how, because the people behind the scenes making it all work, and on behalf of the fans and the punters, thanks to yourself, Curt, and Nick, for keeping the passion and bringing something to Portsmouth which people could be truly proud of. And it's an international Comic-Con now. It's amazing, and long may it grow, and very excited to hear about the news, or more news and upcoming years. And where can everyone find the news for it? So you got your Facebook page, which is,
we're on Facebook, Instagram, we're on Twitter, or X, as you want to call it now, and I believe we're on something called TikTok. I'm not sure what TikTok is, but we're on TikTok as well.
That's just Nick dancing.
That's it. Yeah, it's full of memes of Nick. But we're on all of that, and also the Portsmouth Comic Con website as well. Is kind of the best place to find out all of those places. Is be the first to find out all the news, new announcements, and on the website as well. Purchase your tickets.
Fantastic, and that is www.portsmouthcomiccon.com.
That's it. Yes,
sounds about right.
Sounds about right.
I'll be posting the links in the bio. Ticket wise, I mean, I suppose people get in there quickly. There's time is running out.
You don't want to come down, especially if you're bringing your kids down, and be disappointed on the gate. Saturday generally always sells out. So I wouldn't wait to buy your tickets unless you want to kind of potentially be disappointed. Sunday is available as well. But yeah, if the Saturday is the day you're looking for, Saturday is going to be the big day with the Doctor Who panel. Yeah, the biggest suggestion I can make is don't wait, because tickets do generally always sell out for that Saturday.
Yeah. Well, hopefully you haven't put the Doctor Who panel on at the same time as my slot, because no one will turn up to see the Doctors.
No, that's true. No, it's always got to do some clever programming, which is a big part of the job. But I can assure you, there's no clashes between yourself and the Doctors, because that was a concern I had, that no one would go and see the Doctors.
I wouldn't like them to, Paul Sylvester's face when no one shows up. Kurt, I'm excited. I'm hoping the lovely people at XFM, isn't it, doing the XFM?
Express FM.
Express FM, sorry. The lovely people at
Express, yeah.
Express FM. Hopefully they let me have the content for the live show as well, so people who weren't there can see what it was all about. With obviously Kurt's permission, I'll be taking a few little videos of the con and kind of my couple of days around there as well. So hopefully that's all within that's allowed. You can tell me off there if it's not.
Absolutely.
Looking forward to it. It's going to be fantastic, and congratulations for all the effort that you guys have put in, and let's just hope it's not too rainy, not too sunny, and everyone has a great day.
Just be right. It'd be warm, but maybe a little bit cloudy, just perfect.
A little bit cloudy, that's it. I'm unsure whether I'm going to dress up or cosplay or not. Like, I haven't got much anymore, certainly much that fits me, since the days of been able to pull it off. But I know, we'll see. I've got a hoodie with my emblem. Everyone said, "Oh,
nice, branded.
Got to go branded so people know." So I've got a massive logo and QR code, kind of QR block thing on my back. I don't even know what it's called. QR code on my back, so people can follow me around and take pictures of my back, or however QR codes work. But Kurt, thanks so much for joining the show. We will. Well, I look forward to meeting you properly on the day. Hopefully, I know you'll be running around busy. People get involved, and you know what? If you can't make it to Portsmouth Comic Con, and you haven't been to a con for a while, or even if you've never thought about going to a con, find your local convention. The smaller the better. Help it grow. Get involved. You don't have to dress up. There's no pressure. You can just go along and experience it. Maybe you're an adult who is still in love with 80s Doctor Who, or maybe you've got a child who's obsessed with Harry Potter. I don't know, whatever. Or adults. I mean, adults are obsessed with Harry Potter as well. But if you have an interest, go along, support small cons to make them big cons, and support big cons to see bigger people. I don't know, I'm waffling now, but just give it a try, because I think just listening to Curt talk, and the passion and the love that goes into these events, let alone the guests themselves and everyone getting involved. If you haven't been, you're missing out. There you go. And that's my sales pitch for Comic Con.
I completely agree. And don't listen to Miriam Margolyes, who recently said that adults shouldn't like Harry Potter. She's completely wrong. And continue loving what you want to love, and go to a convention and just express yourself.
Exactly. And you know what? That's perfect. Love what you love. Don't let anyone say. I mean, and unless it's really wrong, but then don't continue that. But everything else, if you love doing something, if you love experiencing something, if you love, submerge yourself in fantasy and fiction and whatever, then keep it going and just fully jump in with both feet.
Couldn't agree more.
We didn't specifically set out to make anything better, but I think we have. I think just the world's a little bit better after this, Curt. Just how people hopefully will view conventions. So the great thing about this podcast is, because it's not one specific subject, people who listen, they get a taste of everything. And we've had on people going off about Marvel movies, and we've had lots of people moan about dogs, but also serious things like chronic shyness and PTSD and I think so. yeah, any goodness that can be put into the world, no matter how big or how small it is, it can only be a good thing in this little home we call Earth. And I really appreciate you talking with such passion, and just been excited for what's going to happen in May. And I look forward to seeing you on the weekend of the 11th and 12th.
I look forward to seeing you then.
Yes. Everyone, thank you so much for listening. Hit the website, look for tickets, or just have a little scout, have a little stalk around the website, just so you see what it's all about. And then maybe if you're not brave enough to go this year, then maybe next year is the year for you, and it's going to be even bigger and better still. But all there is, it's time for me to say thank you, and it is goodbye from me, and it's goodbye from Curt. Say goodbye, Curt.
Goodbye, thank you.